just had a dog like Tribeca wanting to get down on top of it, and also Take Whatever in box 4 showed more early speed than it typically does as well. So had a lot of immediate pressure on its outside. So if it finds a 6 or 7 dog maiden here on a Wednesday night, wouldn't be surprised to see it roll to the top and run some serious time, because I reckon there's plenty of upside with it. It's just still learning how to race.
Patch is giving us a signal for a break. First, I thought he was telling us that. First, I thought he was going to tell us that they're going to put the sprinklers on us. Which is that what they're doing?
Chat's
beautiful.
Track manager here at the Meadows.
Does a fantastic job, Corey. Come and join us, Corey. Now, we have to ask you, in preparation for a night like tonight, a carnival like we've had over the last 3 weeks, have you ever had anything like that before, where we have a 38-degree day and then it starts raining about 40 minutes before the first?
Yes, yeah, because that's what can happen on sultry days where there's actually quite a bit of humidity in the air.
Right.
So even today, although it was very hot and extremely windy for the last couple of hours this afternoon, it was a bit sultry. So I was still sort of flooding the track just prior to, because it was so hot, just prior to the rain coming. I'm sure people look at me and think, he's stupid.
He's mad.
But you can't double saturate something.
Yep.
So the track is completely prepared and full of water and moisture content where I want it. Any rainfall is not really going to affect it. So the sand that we use in Victoria is very much a winter sand that we prepare in summer like it's winter. So we keep it really saturated all the time. And therefore, when you get the rainfall like we did an hour before the first, it doesn't really knock it around too much. As you would have seen, by the time we run the first race, you wouldn't have even known.
I was about to say, it's pretty much dried all up already.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's certainly I've worked years to get the drainage on this track as good as it is. So that's a benefit that I can quite comfortably know that the track will cope with it.
Now, for the punters, for the rest of the program, we're 2 races in. What's the track like? We've obviously got a warm day, and I think we've got a few restrictions of what we can and can't do in the mounting yard. So, what's the track going to play like? What sort of times are we going to see tonight? Are we going to see very quick time in the Australian Cup, which is what we all want to know?
So what I'll tell you is I don't care what time they run.
Yep, as long as they get around.
I don't prepare a track for times for greyhounds to run fast. What I'm aiming for is consistency, and I generally prepare a softer surface here at the Meadows so that they've got slightly better traction. It certainly makes it. I think over the years I've turned the Meadows into a really even playing racetrack where dogs can come from behind, dogs can lead all the way, but certainly any dog that doesn't have, that is a little bit, weak at the end of the races, they'll probably get found out here, where other tracks around Victoria and Australia, they might keep coasting to the line. What I prepare is if the fastest dog always runs the fastest time on the night, doesn't really matter what the time is, they don't pay anymore for fast times, so I'd prefer the track to be as safe as possible. And what I'm aiming for is if you've got a 29.60 dog at the Meadows, that it runs 29.60 every week. And that's what I aim for, whether it be a Wednesday night, a Saturday night, a maiden runner or an Australian Cup. I like to think I treat all the dogs the same.
I think consistency and safety are the 2 key points out of that, which we don't think about enough, probably as punters, whether it's gallops, standardbreds or greyhounds. I don't think we think about that too much. And I remember getting that drilled into me by a great man called Chris Nation from out west a few years ago. He said, my job is that all the horses and all the jockeys go home safely to their families.
Yep.
And I think that's really important. I think it's great that you bring that up. In terms of that, building that consistency over time that you mentioned, and I guess making it more testing track where every dog gets their chance. Is there anything you've done to the shape of the track, the camber of the track?
How long have we got?
Yeah, we got plenty of time.
Don't give away all the
don't give away all my secrets. Okay, I've been here since day one, so I've been here 26 years. I guess in my first 10 years here, one of the things I noticed is that we had a pretty severe leaders track. It was tough to win from outside. So there's been multiple things we've done over the years. We've changed the position of the 500 metre start a couple of times to present a more even run down into the first turn, so we get less interference, and also tend to try and swing the bias to be a little more even across the boxes. In around about 2016, I think it was, that I always knew that greyhounds, because I drive the lure as well, greyhounds don't maintain speed through a race. And of course, these days we have isolinks, so you can actually see the speeds of what the dogs are doing. What I found was that if the camber of a track, the equation of that is the speed of whatever it is going around the radius of a turn at a particular speed. So it's okay if you're driving cars around a track, you can maintain the speed in a car, but a greyhound won't. So they go into the turn, like say your Meadows, Sandowns, Wentworth Parks, they're hitting top speed going into the turn, and they're doing roughly about 70, 72 k's an hour. They then begin to lose speed just a kilometre at a time around the turn. So in my mind, my logical brain says the camber needs to react with them. Otherwise, I get to a point where if I'm too high with the camber, I create interference because I'll funnel the dogs to the rail. So the Meadows, as far as I know, is the only track in Australia that has a variable camber. It alters as it goes around, because what I'm aiming for is the utopia race where the dogs, as they go into the turn, maintain their racing line shape and come out the other end of the turn in the same formation. And that means I'm reducing interference. That reduces the probability of any major injuries, because a lot of that comes from interference. So that's the changes I've made to the Meadows over the years, and that's what means that in real terms, dogs can peel out off the rail and actually pass dogs in front of them now, because the track assists them to do that.
It's an important note again that it's not one size fits all, and there's no formula to building these tracks. It's just, which is why you've been doing this a long time. It's so nuanced.
It is, yes.
So nuanced, and I don't think too many people realise that, especially with greyhounds. They might just see greyhounds running around a track and hoping for the best, but it is so nuanced. Track to track too, I guess, from a punting perspective, Nate.
As well, like Corey said with the sand. You know, they've got a winter sand here that allows him to soak the surface and maintain it. Other states, you know, totally different sand, totally different profiles, totally different cambers, and you know, even where he's moved the boxes to, where the boxes are reshaped to allow that clean run into the corner and that transition through the corner. It's unbelievable, and every day is a learning curve. Every day you're looking to make it better, safer.
It is
moving forward.
Yeah, like giving away my secrets. So just recently, I made a very subtle change to the 600 metre start. The grass matting out the front, I just redid the levels slightly so that I felt dogs were now better, just better leveled coming out of the boxes.
So more even?
So just a bit more even.
Yeah.
So that,
is that a case of pushing the carpet into the ground?
it's about creating the level of when you put a brand new mat in. But again, turn starts automatically give the red a bit of a bias, because they hit the camber first and get a bit of a shoot down onto the turn. So I like to, over time, and if I'm confident enough to do it and comfortable enough to do it, just tinker with things like that. And I do things that I know I can revert back if it doesn't work. But it's a form of research and development, I guess you'll say.
Absolutely. And you can't buy that, or you can't read in a book. That's 26 years of experience.
Yeah, still tinkering on a day-to-day level, like you said. It's a wonderful place, and it's a wonderful track, and it's a wonderful surrounds. Even, you know, we talk about the track, but look at the gardens. Look at what he's dealing with as a whole picture. It's an unbelievable facility and complex for greyhound racing and spectators alike. Yeah, I've got an exceptional team of workers here that very much believe in my ideology around things, and that's why I think the venue always presents so well. They know we take pride in what we do. My view on it is, if you look at any racetrack, it doesn't have to be greyhounds, and you see weeds and things that aren't painted and stuff like that, I sort of think, well, do they care about the track as much as what they're caring about the surrounds? So to me, it's just as important that Ben in our gardens, for example, has it presenting really well, because it shows he cares about his pride in his workplace, and so I think that really shines brightly for the team that I've got, and how well regarded they are within sort of Victoria.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Proud of that.
Yeah, and so you should be, because you do a marvellous job here, Corey. Sky Racing Active, if you're just tuning in, this is Corey Hiscock. He manages the track here at the Meadows, and so much more. But I just want to say, it's a beautiful track. It's a beautiful backdrop of the city. I think Broadmeadows can get quite a bad rap. I love this part of the world, and I love coming out here, especially when we get a night like tonight. Broady, that's right. It's one of the better places in the planet, especially if you're a greyhound lover on nights like tonight. This is like a grand final for you, Corey. So tell us about, I guess, the lead up over the last 3 weeks and those subtle changes. Do you muck about, or do you just leave it and just make sure everything's sweet? And I'm talking about the weeks leading up as well. Have you
Okay.
tried anything leading into tonight?
So interestingly, with the Australian Cup now, it almost feels a little anticlimactic to me.
Okay.
Because we ran the Phoenix 6 weeks ago,
Yeah,
which
yeah,
is
well,
$1 million to the winner.
Doesn't feel like
and-
6 weeks ago.
And this used to be our biggest race. Now it's not. So ironically, a lot of our big bi-yearly stuff that we might do with the track, for example, actually happened pre-Phoenix. So it all shifted when we started running the Phoenix. But just to give you more information on it, so for example, when we do deep arrows with the track, so that's to allow more moisture into the track, so especially through summer, it'll hold more moisture. That's what I want it to do. It also means there's no firmness in the track underneath. So, 50 mil down, that can lead to bonal injuries in greyhounds. I don't want that. So we'll do all that sort of work about 3 weeks out from the start of a series like this. And then it's about maintaining the track through that. So when it comes to the track surface in particular, so you'll see us on race night doing data and so forth. So years of data have taught us what the numbers are meant to be based on my gut instinct of what I feel the surface
And matching
should be
them
like.
together.
Matching them together. But I'm preparing the track to be pristine for race 1, and then during the evening I have to do whatever is needed to it, and that's based on generally climactic conditions, to make sure race 12 has exactly the same track. So that's why you'll see us out with water carts and things like that. And again, sometimes even in winter, I might put a water cart around and people again go, he's stupid. But there's reasons why we do it, because I like to think that I'm preparing the most consistent track possible. And the dog's in the last, it's same on trial day. The dog that goes around 6 hours after the first one deserves the same treatment as the first one received.
Corey, you do a tremendous job, and that was really well put. So we really appreciate you coming on and sharing some insights into the track here at the Meadows, and hoping for safe racing tonight.
So
Thank you.
I'm always hoping for that. Thanks, guys.
Good on you,
Thanks,
Corey.
Corey.
Thank you.
Corey Hiscock, track manager here at the Meadows. I could listen to that stuff all night. I'm a big one for feel and nuance, and that job takes so much of it. And a bit like your job of trying to find winners, as much as you've got the data and the form guide in front of you, you still have to use all your experience and all of your prior knowledge to get us over the line. Here in race 3, Kenya Nitrate is the 195 favourite, just easing out towards